Hello, I'm Mark,
I'm Casey.
and today we're going to talk about gas stations turning to charging stations. But first, let's roll that credit.
Gasless stations. You're watching the Tesla Life Express, Edition 2.
I like that, Casey. Gasless stations. A
Yes.
different term. Yes, indeed. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
I visited my first gasless station in Tacoma Park, Maryland a few years ago, where the owner, Mr. Dooley, he ripped out all of the gas pumps and replaced them all with DC chargers. And while we were there interviewing him, it was kind of funny that people kept pulling up, trying to get gas, realizing it didn't work, and leaving.
Nothing worse than not being able to get gas out of the EV charger for some reason. Yeah. When was that, Casey? That was a few years ago, right? A couple
It
years
was it
ago?
was it was shortly before COVID, so
Okay.
2019 and change. No, I was wearing a mask then, so it would have been in the middle of all of that. So
I
yeah,
wonder. I wonder if the station still exists. Things
it's a good
still
question.
going well for them? Has he sold it? Is it still operating under the same ownership?
I never did a follow up. I probably should.
Yeah, we should
But
find
shortly
out.
after, yeah, definitely. Shortly after his opened up, Tesla and Sheets opened up their gasless station in an old bank, and it was no, it wasn't Sheets. It was Wawa. Sorry, Wawa. Opened up a gasless station, and it was an old bank, and they had the numbers on the poles. We'll bring you out your food. That didn't work. I went in to get my food. It was fine, but that was one of the first V3s in Northern Virginia at that gasless station, and that was a blast.
Yeah, and this is somebody that was actually trying it out on their own, right? Being a
Yeah, this was
private
an independent
entrepreneur,
operator rather than the Wawa.
converting
Yeah,
their gas station to EV only, and trying to provide the amenities that EV owners would like to use while they charge up for that 20, 30 minutes stop. So
yeah.
it'd be interesting to see if he's been successful over a period of time. So we'll take a look at that. But the
So,
story that we wanted to talk about today is one that is based in Spain.
ah,
And it's also being controlled by Tesla. Tesla
oh, this is
is
the
the
one that
one.
Andrew shared with us.
Yeah, so Tesla is the one that is converting a current Shell station to a Tesla supercharger. And actually, I can share some photos here.
Here's a couple photos.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the photos and share that. Got an animated photo here from the electric site where we got this article from. And you can see it changing between the shell and the new Tesla colors.
Yeah, but not just the shell, the restaurant behind it, and the building on the other side of it. So it looked like they could have a service center in there as well.
Possibly.
It doesn't indicate it's still a restaurant.
Right, right. It doesn't say if there's nothing to indicate that it's actually a Tesla showroom,
Not yet.
but it could be.
Yeah,
Um,
or even just service. There's a lot of room in that other building back there.
yeah, but it doesn't say in the article anyway, so we're not
Yeah,
sure. But what's interesting here is that Tesla has taken the traditional gas station footprint, and all they've done is modified it so that the awning has remained. They have obviously have changed the colors, but the lighting, the awning, the position of the cars that where they will sit in order to charge, basically the same as a regular gas pump station, but now it's going to allow EV owners to plug in and charge, of course, for a little bit longer than a gasoline fill up. But again, still somewhere in the area of 20, 25 minutes, typically for a full charge required, or to 80%, where typically all of us get to before it tapers out, and it makes no sense to continue to charge there.
it's an 8 pack. This could be a V4,
Yeah.
like true V4.
So yeah, and in Europe there is a lot of V4 installations going in, so that would
Well,
not
they've been having
surprise
the
me at
3.5s
all.
too, but now that the V4 is out, with 8 stalls, it could either be 2 V3s or 1 V4.
Yeah. So this will be interesting to see once this gets up and running. Obviously, right now it's still under construction, but it is
Yeah.
getting close for operation. And we'll certainly check on what happens to those storefronts behind it as well, if they are part of the Tesla group, or if those
They
are
changed colors.
owned
They
by
went from
somebody else completely
yeah,
different.
yeah, it could be completely different, but they went from the shell yellow with the restaurant and everything to drab.
Exactly, exactly. So it's not. I would say that since they've taken the completely changed the exterior coloring, that they probably are related to whoever owns the property, and in this case, it's now Tesla that owns the
Yeah.
property.
I'd like to hear from anybody who's got boots on the ground over there. That'd be awesome to hear.
Yeah, maybe do a little video about this. That would be kind of cool to see.
Yeah,
And
if you're trying to do a video, write it up and we'll read it for them.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, this is something that
the
I
beginning
can
of a trend.
definitely see starting to take off. Like
Yeah,
I can see that this is could be a trend in the future if this is indeed successful. Obviously, Tesla to this point has basically built on land that's been unoccupied for the vast majority of their supercharging network. But of course, you get into city centers, you get into areas of the country that are densely populated, and building on a virgin site is not something that can be done in a lot of cases. If you
right.
want it to place it in a certain area, you're having to build on a site that already has something on it. Now, we have noticed Tesla building superchargers in urban centers in North America. A lot of that has been regulated to basically parking structures where they'll put it inside of a mall parking structure, or they'll put it in, close to a public parking or parkade. So there's typically that's what happens. We've Again, this is the first I've seen Tesla actually take an actual gasoline type setup and make it their own. So
Yeah.
it will be interesting to see how successful they feel this is.
Also under the stilts pylons for some of those raised buildings where they have a site,
Right?
but they don't have enough room for parking unless they lift the building up. So sometimes they'll give some of the spots to Tesla, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think it's the beginning of a trend though, because like you said, these places are they're already built up, and depending on how you manage them and how many customers you're expecting, and if you've got like Kettleman style lounge facilities, uh, or the diner, this could still work out. And I'm curious, since you've already got a big hole in the ground, did you need to trench it? Are you able to run the cables through the tank after you make sure the tank is properly decommissioned, or did this help them at all in terms of construction costs?
now we also have seen some of the supercharger builds in Europe along motorways have been kind of the gasoline style as well, where there is traditionally some sort of awning.
Yeah,
Circle K comes to mind a lot
yeah,
in Europe, where they're along different motorways and set up with a number of chargers. But there's also other charging stations outside of Tesla that are doing that as well. There are even some that build multiple charging stations under a single stop. Um, but to this point, like this seems like your typical urban gas station that you would see in any medium, larger city. A little bit different than those motorway type setups. But again, this may also be that as Tesla expands their charging network, as they expand the number of cars on the road, this type of scenario may come into play a lot more, especially in Europe, where we see that the adoption of EVs has accelerated way beyond what North America is, where you now might even have gas station owner operators that are looking to divest from locations that they have, realizing that their portfolio is a little bit too large based on what's happening with the advancement of EVs and the reduction in sales of petrol vehicles. So this could be a trend that is going to be replicating because of what's actually happening in the marketplace.
That was a question I had about a shell I saw shut down and completely renovate before I left Virginia. They weren't right off the highway. I mean, they weren't far from it, but it was not something you would pick if you were on a highway trip. And they tore it down to the studs and they built it back up. I say the studs. They took it all the way down. It was a fresh site, and they built it back up. But uh, are you going to get that ROI back before gas is not a thing anymore? I mean, there will be some for a while, but it's going to be those convenience stops that are going to
Yeah.
have that last hanging on unless these people are going to give the stuff away somehow.
What I'm starting to see in my area is that when a gas station has been completely retrofitted or updated, where they've torn it down to the studs and they've redone it, typically they'll put in 1 or 2 DC fast chargers. Maybe they're out back, they're not quite
Yeah.
as convenient as what you would see at the gas pumps, but at least they're starting to understand that there is a new customer out there that they could attract to their location and who would spend a little bit more time at their convenience store than your typical gas car because of the time there is to charge. So there's some of them are starting to see the light, and I'm seeing that when a gas station has been redone.
Yeah.
That's starting to be a thing here.
All right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Have you guys seen any uh, renovations like this? And did they just make it fresh, or did they put some chargers in?
Well, the one I'm thinking about here in Kitchener, Ontario, was a Circle K that overtook
Oh, they know that.
an older gas station. They ripped it down to the studs, and then they put a brand new canopy with gas pumps, but they
Okay.
also added a couple of chargers to the area that's close to the convenience store, maybe a little bit offset, but close to the convenience store, and it gave them the ability to start put themselves on PlugShare and start to advertise that they've got a DC fast charger that people could take advantage of when they needed to. So that's at least some forward thinking
Yeah.
as people start to see that the EV adoption rate continues to climb. It continues to grow here in Canada and the US. Obviously, it's not as large of a percentage as it is in Europe, but we are definitely growing.
For sure. It'll be interesting to watch.
Very good, very good. Well, with that, Casey, let's wrap it up. Any shout outs for the end of the show?
Yeah. Catch us in 2 days live, same time, same place for the
That's
Tesla
right.
Life
Live show
Live.
coming up on Wednesday, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. start time. So join us then. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up on the video. Press that subscribe button. You'll be notified when we put out a new video, and we would appreciate that because it helps put new eyeballs on the site. So thanks so much for doing so. And with that, I think we will call it a day. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll get together next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla life.